happening and it freaks me out.
Oh, it's stone gas, man.
Hello, and we are live. Welcome to episode number 20 of Region Free. How is everybody out there tonight? Hope everyone is doing well. Let's see who's with us so far here. Joe Bob Tar Heel, the Daily Ghost, Satan Payne, Cobra Viper, Scatterbrain. What's up, Scatterbrain? Richard Skarinky, hello. Anthony Anderson, hello. DJ, how's it going? There's Dave, Jake the Snake. Hope y'all are doing well tonight. Well, let's go ahead and dive right into tonight's show, shall we? We've got a lot to talk about. So let's, without further ado, go for it. Joining me tonight, we have got the legendary B-Movie Mike. What's up, Mike?
What's up, man? How's it going?
It's going, man. It's going. It's good to see you.
Good to be back. It's been a while. Took a couple of shows off so that other people could have a chance to come in and have some fun, but it's good to be back.
Yeah, right on, man. How's everything going down in Florida?
Hot and wet. It's summer.
Hot and wet. That's Florida.
Yep.
That's Florida. Also with me tonight is Stone Gassman. What's up, Stone?
Good evening. Live from New York, it is Stone Gasman. How's everybody doing? I'm very happy to be here and looking forward to doing some awesome topics with you guys.
Yeah, right on, man. Good to see you.
Yeah.
How's everything in the city of New York?
Crowded. The trains have gotten crowded again. About 50% wearing masks, 50% not. Nobody's really giving a damn. They're just going about their business and whatever. But actually going smooth work-wise, and the good news is that my channel seems to be growing. I mean, I've done several 50th anniversary commentaries so far, including my last one, which was on the Devils, which I had Lorne and Cam and Stingray and Horrigal Susan, and it's just incredible. I mean, the Rape of the Christ sequence when the nuns start jumping on Jesus's scrotum is epic. So I just wanted to get that out there. And also I saw Black Widow, very meh. I have nothing else to say about it.
The Devil sounds like good, clean family fun. I'll have to get a hold of that one.
Man.
Yeah, jeez.
Family classic.
Yeah. What's the transfer on the new Disney Blu-ray look like? Joking.
Yeah.
Also
Warner
with me
Brothers.
tonight.
Yeah.
From the Flesh Wound Features YouTube channel, Dan. What's up, Dan?
What's up, Piz?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing very well. I did enjoy revisiting The Devils with Stone, and it's a lot better than Black Widow. So it's a classic movie.
Although
Sorry,
the
Dan,
Devils,
oh, that's okay.
the Devils never went through a lawsuit, right? I mean, there's never been any kind of litigation.
I mean, I think Jesus may have a case, but
I think it might still be banned in some countries.
yeah,
it is
very much banned.
Yeah, it is. But good to see you tonight, Dan.
Good to see you too.
Also with me tonight is Lauren, visited by voices. What's going on? You're muted.
So riddle me this: how is it that I get bounced off a Piz Patreon stream for virtually the same content that Stone just got away with?
You were using very explicit language. Stone was being very careful with his word choice,
but he was being more descriptive.
Well, see, it's not about we don't talk. It's not about content.
I'm just saying there's a double standard here.
Well, yeah, there's a double standard.
Yeah. Okay. As long as we're on page.
I mean, come on. Where have you been for the past 8 years?
I have no idea. I haven't been here 8 years either. I think you might have a little bit of time displacement theory going on.
I'm just saying, context is old hat now. We don't even think about that anymore. Anyhow, good to see you tonight, Lauren. Hope you're doing well.
Oh, I hope I am too. But hope is one thing, reality is another.
Hope is a dangerous thing.
Yeah, we should ban it. It's dangerous, like books or films with sequences with nuns at Christ in them.
It's true. Very true. And lastly, making her triumphant debut after several weeks. We've not seen Jamie in a while, but Jamie's back. How's it going, Jamie?
Hi.
How are you?
Pretty good. I'm doing really good. I've been spending a lot of time outside. Doing a lot of, I haven't been watching a lot. I can tell you that much. I've been spending time outside doing yard work and trying to fix myself. So
that's okay. Fresh air is highly underrated.
Fresh air is key.
Fresh air. Enjoy being outside while you still can.
Yeah. And you know what? I have a muscle now.
Whoa.
Jacked.
Put that gun away. We can't have firearms on this stream. This stream will get banned. Put those guns away.
We can't be having a gun show on YouTube now. We'll get in trouble.
I know, my God.
This is the first time in my life I've ever been able to do that, like, oh my God, I have a defined muscle on my arm. This is crazy. This is wood. This is because I move wood now. See,
you'd be banned from Tokyo right now, Jamie.
That's what Jamie was doing in her off time, just pumping iron.
Also, I'm rocking the Christian Hanna shirt tonight. So
nice.
Shout out to Christian.
Yeah, Christian was actually in the chat a little bit earlier. So
what's up, bud?
Let's see. There's Mike, the real fifth Beatle from the UK. What's up, man? How are you? There's Dave from Jersey. How you doing? Ben Grimm, hello. Sugar Ray. How you doing? Media Dude 95, hello. Big Crack Rock. It's not a party without Big Crack Rock. And our old buddy Nico, thank you for the $5 super chat, sir. Cheese Puffs, super chats, and region free equals the good life in an hour. All right, man. Right on. Thank you for that, Nico. Appreciate it. All right, well, let's go ahead and let's talk about a few things here, shall we? Let's talk. I know we talked about this just a little bit during my patron stream the other night, but we've had some requests to talk about it again. It's the Nightmare on Elm Street 4K leaks. What did you guys think of the leaks? The Nightmare on Elm Street 4K leaks. Anybody get excited about it? Mike, Jamie, Stone?
Don't care.
Don't care?
I was getting all ready to not buy them, and then it turned out to be a fraud. So,
Yeah.
what will I do?
Same.
How will I not buy them now?
I will reiterate what I said during my patron stream, that it shouldn't be a surprise that some company out there is not actively or haven't been actively pursuing that set, or aren't currently pursuing that set, because it's money. It's money. And I mean, Scream Factory would be at the top of my list of suspects because they did the Friday set, they did the Halloween set. It just makes sense. And I think they've got the pockets deep enough to make that happen. Because really, who are the only two players who's got the pockets deep enough to make that happen? Scream Factory and Arrow, right? Mm-hmm. So surely one or the two of them, if not both, are trying to make it happen. And there's probably talks in-house to make it happen too. So I'm sure it probably, why shouldn't it happen is really the question. What's keeping it from happening is really the question that I think is more interesting than anything else. But so no, I'm not surprised. If it turns out to be real, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Put it that way. I would be a little surprised that they're going 4K instead of Blu-ray first. But I don't know. Go ahead, Dan.
Oh yeah, I think I'd be a little more excited if it does end up being Arrow. Personally, I'd put them a little bit. No offense to Scream Factory, I just rank them quite a bit higher right now. I can't see them for going straight past Blu-ray for a 4K release. I just don't see that happening. But you'll get this in the next year or two.
I think but you know, really thinking about it, I mean, bypassing Blu-ray, because I mean, Lauren mentioned it, you know, when it comes to physical media, only the first movie is a seller. So how are you going to really kind of, would 4K be a greater selling point for the sequels than just standard Blu-ray? If you said, well, wait a minute, here they are in 4K as opposed to just standard Blu-ray, because you know they're going to do them on a box set. They're not going to do them individually, because again, historically, only the first one on physical media has been a good seller. Mm-hmm. So you got to have the box set, and maybe if they do 4K, that might make it a little more tantalizing to people. I don't know. I know a lot of people still haven't made the jump to 4K, so they would be. I mean, you'd have the 4K standard Blu-ray and so on. That would elevate the price. I don't know. It's it did create a lot of buzz around the franchise and around, you know, the series, really, which there really hadn't been a lot of buzz and hype around it for a long time. Mm-hmm. Even if that was just a fake, completely made up. Which I'd never heard of that guy before who leaked it. I can't think of his name, but somebody told me that he's like a well-known troll and he's got a long history of just doing really mean things. So, I don't know.
The fact that there is a new Nightmare on Elm Street property actively being developed right now makes me think that Warner's would not farm out the titles at this point. If they're going to do this, they're going to want to be able to relaunch the titles and make the money themselves. Mm-hmm. I see that as just way more likely. It's a timing issue. If this had happened 2 years ago, I'd say, yeah, Warner, so they have no game because they have nothing. They don't have a new product to create that cross promotion. That same advertising money gets spent in two ways: then the new movie and the box. But right now, where we're looking at a new film in 2022, late 2022, I just don't see them licensing it and then not making that money themselves. I just don't see that.
But who's to say that they don't go the Paramount route? License everything to Scream Factory, but then put out their own stuff on top of it.
Again, if the timing was different, I'd say that's exactly what the plan is. But if they put this thing out this year and in 12 months after that box set comes out, because it's not going to sell out. It's just not going to.
Unless they limit it.
it doesn't matter how limited it is, unless they make it so limited that it's not going to make money to come out. Because there's costs in putting any product out, right?
Mm-hmm.
The more you sell of it, the less profit you have to make per unit. And that allows you to bring the cost down, which the costs can be very important with this box. The sequels are not overall by the mainstream well regarded. It is that first film. That's the cornerstone $30 title, maybe. The rest of it, they might be $10 titles to some people, but a lot of people, not even. You know, prices can be very important on this box. So, I mean, just my business brain is saying probably in-house right now anyway, unless Warner's has made the decision that they're going to make a major move in regards to all physical media from their brand before that next Nightmare comes out. In that case, maybe that licensing will happen, but then we're looking at worse news kind of globally, because if we lose one of the major distributors as far as physical media, the others are going to domino very quickly because the manufacturers of the hardware will fall in line too. So,
well, yeah, I mean, timing is a big thing too. I agree. I mean, they could do the license thing now to a Scream Factory and have them put it out in October, maybe, and then when their Nightmare project drops in 2022 or whenever, then here's your Steelbook edition straight from New Line. Here's your whatever, some kind of fancy new set straight from New Line. I mean, looking at how Paramount's doing it, if they think they can make some money milking,
well,
I mean, milk away.
The difference is there's no Friday going to happen right now. So normally when these contracts get signed, there's a non-competition clause that doesn't allow you to license or issue your own version of that material for a set period of time. 12 months, 18 months, that would be a very, very short window and would be way below the industry standard. 2 years is usually the minimum. So, I mean, it's possible if they don't intend to ever put out physical media on these titles again, but that would be the only case where I'd see them actually doing it. But again, I think this leak is a whole bunch of nothing at the moment. So, I mean, we're just speculating about maybe kind of sort of.
Yeah. Well, Scream Factory did respond to it, and they said it's all crap. They said, I forget exactly what I said, but they were like, we have no plans of doing a box set or doing individual releases. That was it. Pretty simple, straight to the point. So, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I do hope it happens. I think it will happen soon, probably sooner than later. I mean, the real question is why hasn't it happened up to this point? It just seems like that's kind of, I mean, that's money, because they know probably all of us here are going to buy that. Just about everybody watching is probably going to buy that. Price weighs into it, but
Mike, can you unmute for a second?
Sure.
I think you and I need to have the bald guy talk about this. Because it's like you were shaking your head and I was shaking my head. I really think inside the horror bubble, people think this series is way more popular than it is. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. It's third at best, maybe farther down the line. I mean, you got Friday and Halloween and pretty much everything else.
But see, I say that too. When I do these solo streams and people ask me about Nightmare, I just go, I'm blah about it. It's just not. It's third. It's second tier. It's third or fourth down my list. And there's so many people in the chat go, you're crazy. This is my favorite. I love Nightmare. Freddy's the man. Blah 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 blah. So there's.
Cool. I mean,
clearly,
enjoy it. I mean, I haven't upgraded from DVD, so there's my input.
Neither have I. I'll go beyond that. I haven't taken the shrimp wrap off any but the first in that set.
And I'm not hating on it. I love the first one. The second one's got its own thing going, which I saw that in the theater. It was okay. I didn't hate it. 3 was. Yeah. It's kind of one of those movies I never need to see again. I mean, it was good for the time, but and then the sequels just get more and more comedic as you go along, and I mean they're fun to watch for different reasons, but yeah, it's not the franchise I reach for. Friday's one pretty much as a franchise, not just as individual movies. Friday's 1, Halloween 2, and then everything else after that.
I think for me too, look, I said I wasn't going to buy the Andy Milligan box set, and I had no willpower, and I ended up buying it anyways. So, I mean, I'm probably going to get this. Unfortunately, I'm not the majority, so it'll be interesting to see what the sales are on it. I hope whoever gets it takes their time, because the reality is we have something called Never Sleep Again. So in terms of extras, that kind of covers you in terms of information. I mean, that is an excellent documentary. And Mark Patton, of course, has his separate documentary. Heather Langenkamp has a documentary out. So I don't know, on the extras front, what is there to really entice the people that are looking at their DVD or Blu-ray set that they already have and get them to
maybe that would be the thought process behind doing standard Blu-ray and going straight to 4K.
True. Yeah, it's possible.
4K is a big enough hook. I mean,
the problem is, in the overall money spent on physical media every week, UHD is between 4 and 6% of the overall sales, and Blu-ray is around 22% on a good week. On a bad week is more like 18, unless there's a really standout anime title, then it gets pushed up. But the reality is, we're this thing's pricing is going to make a lot of difference to whether it can be successful. There just aren't enough hardcore horror fans. If it's a $160 4K box, I don't think there's 10,000 sales in it. I really don't.
I want to ask Big Crack Rock a question real quick. Big Crack Rock, were you the person that anonymously bought Lorne the Friday the 13th box set?
I'd like to know that too.
Were you that person?
It won't be awkward if you say.
But I mean, they would have had to have known who. There was a point where my address was unfortunately fairly available. It's been taken care of now. But. Oh, okay. I get you. Okay.
But if it was, man, I just want to be able to thank you. It wouldn't be awkward at all.
We're awaiting Big Crack Rock's response. We'll see.
I represent the type of person who hasn't switched to 4K yet. Now, I have not switched to 4K. I actually considered it last summer, switching over to 4K. But in talking to you guys and, a few other people, I kind of just put it off and said, well, I don't know if I want to make that change, because if that change, doesn't stay, or it's one of those flash in the pan kind of things, I don't want to be stuck with all this, like, a 4K TV that I spent too much money on, or a bunch of 4K movies or whatever. So I don't know. I want to switch, but I'm super frugal about how I spend my money. And I just don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. And to be honest, I already have a box set of Nightmare on Elm Street, and I'm perfectly happy with it. But if they did put out a box set of Blu-rays, not 4K, but Blu-rays that had a few little, extras inside it, maybe a poster, some other cool little ditties, I might consider it. Because Nightmare on Elm Street does happen to be in my top 5 series of movies. So I do think I would spend the money on it, even though I have not switched to 4K yet. I would consider it possibly if I thought it was going to stay around.
Yeah, I haven't upgraded either, because you're talking about a new TV, a new Blu-ray player that does the 4K.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we talking, $1,000 between the two?
Yeah.
I just had to spend $1,200 to upgrade my hot water heater because it decided to go out on me. So when you're looking at stuff like that, you got to keep money in the savings, because you never know when the houseboat here is going to spring a leak, right?
Exactly.
I mean, owning a house is like owning a boat. Break out another $1,000 every time something goes wrong,
Yes.
And I've got the DVDs, and I'm happy with that. I mean, if other people, cool, do what you want to do. It's your, if you've got the disposable income, I don't know what that is, but if you have the disposable income to do stuff like that, go for it. But I'm not one of those people. I have to be a little more frugal and make sure I have a nice little safety net for when things I actually have to replace need to be replaced.
Yeah. I hear you.
The reality is 4K is not killing Blu-ray or DVD for that matter and making them irrelevant. So,
Right.
you know, if you really like that quality upgrade, which to be honest is there big time on some titles, and others, you know, look, I'm obsessive. I'll tell you, sometimes there's not much of a difference. And it really does just depend on from Blu-ray to 4K. It just depends on that title.
Well, and I'll tell you too, I think my favorite when it comes to Nightmare on Elm Street, the old DVD box set with the flipper cases, that was a killer box set when it came to extras and how everything was like divided up, like you were navigating through like the boiler room and you were inside Freddy's head, and just how they did that was really smart. And like, you know, that wasn't just thrown together by, you know, they just didn't hand that to somebody in an office and go, yeah, just slap that thing together. Somebody with some love for the franchise put all that together clearly. And that's a really nice box set.
It is. Yeah. Hidden material too, which I kind of missed those little Easter egg things.
Tons of hidden material in that. Yeah. Somebody with love and respect for the franchise put that together. No doubt about it.
That was super fun. Sorry.
That was during the DVD explosion though, whereas money was being made by everyone no matter what they were releasing. And a title like that or a box like that at that time, with that many people having made the migration from VHS to DVD, it was a lot safer of a time period. I don't know. I don't know what a deluxe box really looks like today. If you're going to bring it in at a cost that people will actually pay, that's an open question. You know, Criterion released that Godzilla box set, which in theory I love, but I can't bring myself to buy because I own all those movies, and it's like what, a $250 price tag. Well, no. You know, if I'm not going to watch all of them once a year, I can't justify that. There's no way. So I think that this is going to be, price is going to be a big component of this. And the other part of it is they're going to have to give people something that really is a big hook that they haven't had before, which the Nightmare series doesn't have that big cut to pieces film. I mean, the fifth film is missing some gore, but it's not it doesn't have the weight of like the Fridays that were available.
It's gotta be Freddy's Nightmares, even if they look like crap.
They will look like shit because they were shot SD. So
that would be a huge selling point for so many people.
That's true.
That aspect ratio, boy, that'd be so great.
The tidal wave of buyers' regret after they actually watch Freddy's Nightmare.
That is also true.
Holy hell, it will be a tsunami of tears.
I think a lot of people
freaking series.
I think a lot of people will get a kick out of it. It is bad, but I think a lot of people will get a kick out of it because of how bad it is and how shoddy it is and how clearly cheap it was. And I still think there'll be a lot of people who get a really big kick out of it, but that would be a big selling point. Thank you, Punk Ron, for the $4.99 super chats. Have you seen an anthology series called Terror Vision? It was on Lifetime in the 80s, and little is known about who produced the show. It's on YouTube. I thought you were talking about the Terror Vision movie.
Oh, that's what I thought they meant too.
Yeah, no, there was a series on Lifetime in the 80s called Terror Vision. Never heard of that.
That's probably because I never watched Lifetime.
Yeah, that I didn't think there was Lifetime in the 80s.
Yeah, that kind of threw me for a loop. But
I don't know. Somebody research that. I don't know. What were you going to say, Mike?
I was going to say, as far as the old titles go, a lot of the older, low budget horror films, some of them translate well to Blu-ray, but not all of them really benefit from that because they were shot on film and lit a certain way, and they just were not meant to be seen with that kind of clarity, because you end up seeing too many of the strings. There's certain ways that they're meant to be dark, and they're meant to, you're not supposed to see that, because they're hiding stuff with the lighting because they don't want you to see stuff. So they're like, well, they won't be able to see it. It's shot on film. We lit it. But then they go in and they do these Blu-rays and these other transfers, and they end up brightening everything up to where you're not getting what the director made. You're not, that's not the way the film was made. You're seeing it in a way that it was never intended to be seen. So not all of these films actually benefit from these higher resolution formats. I don't think personally. Some do, some look great, of course. Some benefit from it greatly. I think Jaws looks amazing, upgraded. There's several films that really
they did a lot of work to get it there, though.
But not every film, and going to that, all that work costs money, upgrading all that stuff and up converting. I mean,
$2.5 million. $2.5 million to create a new 4K master of Jaws. Most titles won't make that back in a home release. So the only reason we got that Phantasm remaster was because they were testing the technology for Star Wars. That's the only reason that movie looks great on HD to this day. So.
Apollo Balboa wants to know, anyone ordering the Friday Paramount 8 Steelbook sets or the new Friday Blu-ray or the new Paramount 8 Friday set?
I've got 2 sets right now, the Steel Box and the new Scream Factory, so I'm good.
I would go as far as to say I'll never buy those films again.
Yeah, I have the full set, but I actually might consider buying it because I kind of like the idea of it being a steelbook, so I might actually consider that and just send the other one down to the thrift store or something.
Yeah. One good thing about the steelbook set is it's got Roy on the back. They gave Roy some love. Stand alone, all by himself. Roy on the back. So
it's good to see him get some love.
It's good to see Roy get some love.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, you're goddamn right it is.
I love you guys when you get all funny with your opinions and stuff.
Let's see, we've got some love for 4K in the chat. We've got a little bit of not love for 4K in the chat, but I think a lot of a lot of it is priced with 4K. And some of those 4K discs can get pretty expensive. So, yes.
Actually, Big Crack Rock brings up buying Exorcist on 4K. That movie is incredibly problematic for HD as is. Scene to scene, it looks like a vastly different movie now. It's a tough movie to get looking great. They're gonna have to spend some real money for a good UHD release of it. I'm a huge Exorcist fan, I'm a huge Blatty fan, but I would have to see the work before I put down money on it, because that Blu-ray set it's problematic as is. I don't know.
Well, let's talk about something that's really not going to be problematic. And let's talk about this new Exorcist trilogy that's coming from David Gordon Green. I cannot wait.
Oh, man.
I hope I hope what David Gordon Green did for Halloween. I know me and Mike are on the same boat here. I hope what David Gordon Green did for Halloween 2008, he can do for The Exorcist.
Oh, why stop there? Just go for it, man. If you're gonna rape the corpse of a film, do it in style. What they're gonna do? What, 3 of these? It's yeah. So okay, whatever. I don't care. Apathy. If anybody's interested in seeing it, just understand that the Halloween 2018 treatment is exactly what you're going to get with The Exorcist. And the fact that they again had the nerve to say, "Oh, the first movie's great, but everything after that sucked," completely ignoring Exorcist 3, which I may even enjoy more than the first one. It's like, okay, it's the same shit all over again, whatever, and I will never, they'll never get my money for it. So if anybody thinks it's great, wants to see it, thinks they might enjoy it, go for it. You have my blessing, but I won't be there.
You know what's great is love for The Exorcist 3 is really exponentially increased since Arrow and Scream Factory released it on Blu-ray. It's been big wave of new people seeing it and really liking it, or people revisiting it and going, hey, this is really good. So that's cool. I do think this new Exorcist trilogy, I'm gonna make a bold statement here. I think at least one of the movies will be better than Exorcist the beginning.
Are you sure?
You'd have to try really hard.
Are you sure?
To really get worse than that.
I think Dominion is more boring by far than the beginning, so I think I prefer the beginning to Dominion. I don't almost fall asleep watching the beginning. I kind of laugh at it.
I have a hard. Yeah, they're basically the same movie. Just one is
on Quaaludes.
One has been Rennie Harlanized, and the other is like it comatose. So
$400 million, we got to shoot a lot higher than certainly every sequel other than 3. I'm expecting more, and we just had an Exorcist TV series that continued the story. And why? I mean, why?
They're gonna milk things until they can't milk any more out of it. That's why it's the name, The Exorcist. They're just gonna the name, that's gonna get us, that's gonna get us views, just the name. So they're gonna make a whole new trilogy thinking that it's just the name, and I don't know, I'm concerned.
The heat is dry as far as I'm concerned. I just it's dry. We just had that TV show. I don't want to spoil certain twists in that, but
spoil it, do it.
That continued the story. You got
everyone knows Reagan showed up. Don't worry about it.
Okay, well you went there. So.
I didn't know that. So well, cool. I didn't know that.
So,
I never saw it, but I know that happens.
Thanks a lot, Lauren.
That was spoiled to me before the series was out, and I was like, I'm still not watching it.
Yeah, and it wasn't the worst thing in the world. It just, goddamn, 400 million. What are you going to do to have something better than that first movie, which is still a measuring stick?
They better put some real money behind hiring a goddamn awesome writer for that trilogy, okay? Because you're replacing one of the best writers who's ever worked in the genre, a guy who is behind 2 of the films in the series, and they just happen to both be brilliant, and everything else sucks. Yeah. So do your math and figure out where maybe you need to spend at least $20 million right there. I don't know who that guy is. I mean, I could give them suggestions. I'd love to see a Gary Breinbeck or a Brian Hodge take it on. That'd be fucking amazing. It's not going to happen. They're going to hire like a guy who wrote a sitcom that people stream.
I want to see Joe Bob Tarhill and Robert Long collab on that screen.
I'm down for that over what's going to happen. Definitely.
Let's give them another 400 million if that happens. We'll just make it. We'll call it 8, and we're good. But
unfortunately, Danny McBride will probably be the choice, and it'll be the same creative team behind the Halloween trilogy.
Who did we just lose?
Stone.
Oh. Nope. Well, what's we've gained Stingray. What's going on, Stingray? How you doing, man?
What's up, guys? Sorry I'm late.
Oh no, it's good, man. It's good seeing you. We've not seen you in a while.
Yeah, good to be here.
What did you do to Stone that he ran away when you showed up?
I flexed.
Again?
Stone was just he was insulted that we went over him to like Robert Long and Joe Bob to write the script. And he was like, I'm out of here. Stone's on his
who can stand in the way of that team?
Stone's on his word processor right now. Exterior, outside of church.
Karis,
Dusk.
A rugged 40-year-old priest.
No, I just lost internet for a minute. Sorry.
Why does this have to be $400 million too? That's another thought, because I'm not seeing that.
The CGI.
Well, yeah, but
because we have to see Pazuzu now. We need to see Pazuzu.
I just hope there's a lot of Pazuzu references. I hope they mention like 3 or 4 times per sentence.
Pazuzu is name checked in the novel, so I'm going to give him that. No, I see this being like overblown. They're going to make the stakes way higher because it's Hollywood. They're going to Marvelize it is what they're going to do. Like the world is going to end unless they don't like get the demon out of Reagan. It's
the last thing you want to do.
I care so little about whatever this is. What are the chances it's going to be good, right? Like how many times have they tried to bring this stuff back and it sucks every time?
Yeah.
Hey Jay, this is going to be like David Gordon Green going down on Christ and the Devils, right? It's going to be exactly like that.
and I mean,
actually, that would probably be more entertaining.
Like I wonder what they can do differently, because I mean, I don't know. What can they do differently? How can they make it new and fresh and exciting? I mean, are they gonna? I mean, I guess the Exorcist priest will be a female. It'll be a nun.
Don't start spitballing ideas, man. These
people
are creatively bankrupt as it is, and they're probably scouring YouTube for ideas. Please stop.
Our old friend Cole is Gaze in the chat. He says, "Have a great show tonight and wish you all the best." Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Or madam. I don't know.
I'm a little confused by what a blue heart signifies, though. Is it upside down? Is it supposed to be something else?
A blue heart. Maybe I don't know. Maybe
Cold heart.
maybe or maybe he's a police officer. I don't know.
Thank you for your service, Cold.
That's a positive spin. That's a really positive spin. I like that,
There you
Piz. I like that a lot.
Christian Hanna Horror, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. He says Michael Myers fears Dracula.
But did Michael Myers ever mug a guy for a pocket change to buy a hamburger? That's the question.
Not once.
Thank you,
As long
Christian.
as Spielberg's still alive, I guess Jaws is safe from the villainous hands of the corpse rapers.
Mike, we'll talk after the show. It's happening right now.
Uh-oh.
I for
kill
one,
Spielberg?
I
Spielberg's
for one
dead?
can't wait.
No. He never owned it.
No.
Yeah, Universal owns it.
Yeah. Big time.
Well,
I think
he's a pretty big shareholder of Universal. And he's been cock-blocking many different attempts to reboot Jaws.
Well,
They finally got one by him. It's a matter of time.
I think it's time. I think it's time for a new Jaws movie.
I always thought that Universal should always have their eyes open for a good shark movie just to throw the Jaws name at, because it's better than the bad films they made as sequels. Like The Shallows could have been a Jaws sequel.
Mhm.
Don't change the frame of the film. Don't make any references. Just Jaws, The Shallows. Put it out in theaters. It's a better continuation.
Yeah, probably.
They could have
make
bought
more
that
money.
thing.
The solution to all of this is we get Kevin Smith to do The Exorcist, and there's no Exorcist.
Yeah, there you go.
There's no Exorcist.
The
From
twist
the
is
director of Dogma.
the twist is there's no demon. It's just the priests are trying to repress the woman's fierceness.
Exact.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's
You've written that. You've written that one.
That
one
is
is-
not at all ridiculous. That I could see it.
The demon is a metaphor for pedophilia.
Remember, if it happens, it's your fault.
Everything's my fault.
But here's the one good thing that may happen if they do another Jaws movie is they bring the Jaws ride back to Universal.
better.
Please bring the Jaws ride back to Universal.
So I just fear that we'll get it and it'll be all screens though.
Oh, it will. It'll be like the King Kong ride that they brought
Yeah.
back with the screens.
I like the Kong ride, but I want the Jaws ride to be what it was, that open air, you're actually on a boat.
Yeah, that's what I want to.
Big
yeah.
fake shark, just like in the movie. That's what I want.
Yeah, that's what I want to. Yeah, exactly.
With some bored kid, high school kid on summer break, reading lines that he's performed like 40 times already in his shift.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Amity Island. Look at the big everyone's getting ready for the big 4th gala.
Watch out, shark! Watch out,
Oh
shark!
no!
Oh no, look at the boat. Something must have gotten to it.
Hold on, let me fire my cannon. Boom.
I just love the fact that the Jaws ride, though, was actually a Jaws 2 ride, and they wouldn't acknowledge it.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, the initial ride that they had to close down and reboot was more of a Jaws 1 type ride,
Yeah.
but every time they blew up the shark, chunks of the shark would float into other scenes where it didn't belong, and it kind of ruined the immersion. So they had to go for the Jaws 2 ending. So yeah, but still,
Yeah.
better than anything Harry Pothead ever did.
Well, let's segue, because we've had people ask for our opinion on the Kevin Smith He-Man controversy. I've not seen the new He-Man series. I don't really have any desire to. Has anybody seen it? Any actually watched it? No.
I saw one episode with my nephew. So
I know they did it like the old school cell animation, like the old He-Man cartoons. Is that right?
yeah, the animation is not the problem. Actually, that's pretty good. The problem is everything else. It just felt like, okay, you're sitting down when you're making the pitch for a new He-Man. Who thinks it's a good idea to get rid of He-Man? He-Man's in it for about a minute. And, like, you know what? I think there's a lot of Tila fans out there, so we're going to make that character the focal point. It's a stupid idea. That would be cut down in 30 seconds.
Who's
by
Tila?
anyone.
I don't even know who that is.
I'm not a fanboy of He-Man. It was, I think, one of the original characters.
She was the daughter of Man of Arms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're pushing the female as the main character thing. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Excuse
So it's not even, it's called He-Man, but He-Man's not even, or it's called He-Man in the Masters of the Universe or whatever, but He-Man's not even really in it, from what I've heard.
Briefly.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. And I don't even like He-Man or watch He-Man I mean, I know a little bit about He-Man. I watched the cartoon as a kid, but I don't care. I mean, if they think they're going to draw people in by pulling a Ghostbusters, that's the wrong way.
But see, what they did too is the trailers were reportedly very misleading, and even Kevin Smith, like the leaks were that everything about the show leaked, and then Kevin Smith went on social media and tried to do some damage control to say, oh no, this is He-Man, this is that's what we called it, He-Man, because it's all He-Man, and then it's not. So a lot of people are really upset about him lying and them trying to mislead people. I think more so than the show being bad. Again, I've not seen the show, and already what I do hate is whenever there's criticism of something like this, the reaction is to never validate the criticism. It's always to write it off as trolling or toxic fans, or, well, these people haven't seen it, they're just thumbing it down or giving it poor ratings just because it's trendy. They want to fit in is why they're doing it, or because they're an Isterophobic or whatever. And I hate that they write off. They just think that there's whatever they do is so perfect and brilliant that the only way that you could not see the brilliance in it and be completely just in rapture of how great it is because you're a toxic fanboy or whatever they want to call you.
Yeah, it's like they brought up the defense of like Captain Marvel. It's like that all over again. It's like, oh, you just dumbed it down to be cool. It's the people like you that ruin everything. And basically, they do deserve a round of applause because I didn't think anybody could fuck up a toy commercial quite as elegantly as they did. I was too old for He-Man, so I'm not attached to the property whatsoever. I don't give a shit either way. It's just mind-boggling to me that you couldn't do something better than a toy commercial. When you make it look better by comparison, good job.
And look, if they wanted to focus on a female character, there's already She-Ra. Why wouldn't they just do She-Ra, Princess of Power?
They did.
Over that.
They did. Yeah.
Oh, they already did that? Oh, well.
See, this is exactly the problem with all these nostalgia plays. The question is, do you go after the audience that normally should be all about a barbarian cartoon, which is what mostly males 9 to 14. Hopefully they outgrow it after that. Mm-hmm. Or do you go for the kids who grew up with it? Because you're going to have to write very different series if you do so. And it sounds like they tried to go for a manufactured splinter group of the people who grew up with it. Like, if everyone who grew up with the series decided they had a particularly powerful need to have social programming in their 80s cartoon that was supposed to sell molded plastic, then that's the group we're going to make this for. And maybe a few of those exist, but I'm saying it's a pretty small number of people. I think they just should have made a film or a television show for 9 to 14-year-old boys. Because that's what it is. That's what the thing is. You don't make My Little Pony into a war film.
No. Might be interesting, but
that's my problem with movies like, Justice League. I grew up watching Justice League on Saturday morning cartoons. For me, it's a Saturday morning cartoon, and it stuck with my childhood. It's not something that I really wanted to see as an adult. So I've never really got into it. And I know a lot of people are, and I'm not criticizing anybody for that. You want to like it? Be my guest. That's fine. It's
Jamie?
Just for me personally, I don't.
Jamie?
Yeah.
Wonder Twins activate.
Oh, this way.
It's so wrong.
I don't know how to do it either.
Form of a water cyclone. I have to use water for some reason. You get to be an animal.
Form of a female shark, and I'm going to bite people's heads off.
I hate to say it because I am a Kevin Smith fan. I know there's some mixed feelings here. I'm an early Kevin Smith fan, I should say.
Yeah.
I really think he came off as kind of a douche how he responded to all this. It's like, well, you don't like it, then you're just a dummy. I mean, he really came off like a baby. I don't think he looked good at all. I don't know who's followed a lot of this. I mean, for me, look, the Masters of the Universe, the movie with Dolph Lundgren, as a kid, I like that a lot. I never really watched the cartoon. That's where my nostalgia is. And I honestly, if my nephew didn't want to watch it, I wouldn't have even watched this animated show. And I don't plan to continue with it after what I saw. But yeah, I don't know. Kevin Smith he acted like a baby. He really did. It's like, look, you delivered something that on paper, any sane person should know was not going to get over with your audience.
Yeah.
And, you're responsible for that. I mean, Kevin Smith, everything post Red State, I did like Red State. I mean, Kevin Smith got a lot more crap on his resume than
You're not a Yoga Hosers fan?
I wasn't a big Tusk guy, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I see the appeal to a degree, but it was so forced. I mean,
yeah, I don't understand how, because I mean, you would think people in the industry who've made a name for themselves like Kevin Smith, at some point early in their career, they had to deal with criticism and rejection. Why can't they deal with it now? And instead of turning to attacking the fans, you see it so often where, like what's his name that's directing the new Indiana Jones was attacking fans on Twitter. James Mangold, yeah. Kevin Smith, you had the guy who directed that last Terminator movie attacking fans on social media. Like
J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, like what are you doing?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
And they feel like they'll never have real pushback. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And in general, outside of the Twitter sphere, they don't.
Right. Yeah.
Well, as fans, I think I never root for something to be bad. The things that I know about the new Candyman movie, for example, doesn't excite me. But I really hope, I'm shocked and it ends up being the greatest horror movie ever made. I am rooting for everything because I'm going to spend money. I'm not expecting it, but I hope. So I don't know.
I think the most important thing we have to solve here, Jay, what is your feelings about giant green tigers?
Oh, I love them. They're great.
Then Masters of the Universe gets a pass. It's done. No matter what they do.
I will say this for Kevin Smith, though, because everybody's always talking like now. They're like, why is the guy always crying? He's like constantly, he's crying at everything. Like he watched the Last Jedi trailer and cried, and like he's crying over this and crying over that. And didn't the guy have a heart attack not long ago?
Yeah,
he survived the Widowmaker heart attack, which I'm glad he did. But then he switched to a vegan lifestyle, and it seems to have a negative effect on his personality. Because he has become very sensitive since then.
One chicken tender, and we'll get the old guy back. Don't worry.
I can tell you this, okay? Because my husband almost died from that too. He had a heart attack, and a Widowmaker particularly, and since then he's become a little less tolerant of people's bullcrap and a lot more thoughtful about his happiness. And not being such a yes man for others so much. So it might be he's just doing what he wants to do,
See, I was going to say, I know a guy who he had to have I forget how many bypass surgery, he had major open heart surgery. And after he had that, it made him a far more emotional man. You know what I mean? So I don't know if maybe that is what happened to Kevin Smith to make him just such a emotional guy over everything. I don't know, but it's just not a good look on his part with this, with this whole situation. Just not a good look for him.
And how easy is it just to ignore it when you get criticism? Just to say, okay, whatever, and walk away and not say anything public.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
I mean, in this day and age, how can you not expect some backlash on the internet? It's kind of a thing. Apparently, he wasn't aware of it till now. But
he did that
for a while.
He did that whole thing in which
Jay and Silent Bob.
Which, yeah, James, where they went to the guy's house and beat him up, the troll's house, and so it seems like he got it. He got it at one point. He's not getting it now, though. You know.
And the only thing I can think of is what happened between then and now is the heart attack, and that might have had something to do with it. I don't know. But what was last? Was it Jane, Silent Bob Strike Back, or Clerks 2? Because whichever one came after, that's the last one I cared about.
I think it's also just like, this is a guy who thought Clerks was a big surprise hit as an indie. Mallrats tanked, but then Chasing Amy got critical acclaim. I think he thought he was going to have a very different career than just making Jersey stoner comedies.
Right.
Which is what he's good at.
And I think he thought he was going to have, the ability to become kind of a Woody Allen in that, because if you look at how Woody Allen started, not the most serious work in the world either. But I think he thought he was going to have a robust career, and I think it's just settling in that he's not. So now he's just a cog. He's just part of the machinery, and he knows it. So he'll go out there, pretend he's the big, I'm one of you, I'm a nerd, I'm a comic book fan. And in reality, it's like all of his dreams have crumbled. Now I hope he gets the opportunity, right? With a real budget to make a real movie, what he really wants to do. I hope all that happens for him, because he probably would be a better project. But it's hard. The industry, we talk all the time about how the industry failed people like Carpenter and Hooper, right? Well, it's failed Kevin Smith too. Of course, Toby Hooper or John Carpenter aren't that much of douches. They were just kind of brisk and abrasive at times. But.
For what it's worth, I've been a long time Kevin Smith fan, and I haven't really been following this whole controversy with the He-Man stuff because I honestly just don't care. But I will say, I just noticed that on Twitter just a few days ago that he did a table reading of his entire cast for Clerks 3. So we know what he'll be doing next, whether you like it or not. It's kind of a shame. I still like his movies to a certain extent. And, it's sad because like 5-6 years ago, like he had almost a nearly fatal heart attack that he managed to get out of. I don't really understand what he's doing with this whole He-Man thing, but
That's me. It must have been a hell of a paycheck, because why else, compared to his filmography, why would he even be interested in doing this?
Netflix probably came to him and said, "Hey, how would you like to do a He-Man show?" And he was like, "All right, you're gonna pay me, right? All right, how many zeros? Yeah."
Listen, if it's a way to start talking to Netflix about getting his projects greenlit by Netflix that he wants to do, I'll write about a green cat. Sure, cool, whatever. You want Smurfette in there too? I'll make it happen.
Smurfette.
Yeah, and it doesn't really surprise me that he'd pick up something like He-Man, because he's like a big comic book fan, and he cartoons and stuff, the same ones we watched growing up, because I believe he's around our age. So, he I forgot what I was saying. Never mind.
What's interesting to me about the whole thing is just how he's doubling down on it, and he's kind of turned into what he's always hated.
Yeah,
he's kind of turned into like the toxic troll that he's had to deal with.
Just like George Lucas.
What's that quote? If you live long enough, you become the villain, sort of thing.
You either die the hero or live long enough
to
become the villain. Yeah. He's become what he once hated.
Yes.
Yep. It's like, Dad, I'm never going to grow up to be like you. And then you're like working in the cubicle right next to him.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, George Lucas started out as Luke Skywalker and became Darth Vader. Yeah, that's how this works.
There you go. Well, let's talk about this is something that just happened today or made the news today. Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney. Talk about biting the hand that feeds you. Suing Disney over a breach of contract that will reportedly cost her upwards of $50 million in back-end revenue that she was expecting to make from the box office of Black Widow. But because Black Widow premiered on Disney Plus and in theaters at the same time, she claims it's impacted the box office returns, therefore impacting how much she's going to make off the movie.
Well, not only was she the star, but she also had a producer credit on it as well.
Correct.
And it was in her contract with Marvel that the film only be released in theaters first. So Disney kind of backdoored her by taking away her back end.
Yeah.
To save their Disney Plus ass.
Is this going to impact how? Because I've heard the thing about when it comes to streaming services, and if you have like some kind of back end deal like that, how do you know how many times that it's been
not covered in the contracts? It's not covered in the contracts. You just lose.
Yeah. So could this case maybe change those things? Could this case maybe take away the whole, we'll do the streaming premiere at the same time as the theatrical premiere? I mean, I know one thing.
It's going to change how contracts are written. That's all it's going to change. Disney are going to cover their ass from now on.
Well, I know one thing. I know Scarlett Johansson will not be back for the Black Widow sequel. She will not.
Yeah, I think she has a hell of a case based on what I'm seeing. I don't see how you don't pay her. They didn't have to release this one direct to streaming. I mean, they could have gone through with the normal theatrical release. And I know it had that big opening. And again, I'm not the Marvel guy, but wasn't there a massive fall? This movie's not a success.
No, total it's 319 million or somewhere in there. It's on pace to be the absolute worst overall Marvel gross of all.
That'll probably change very soon, though. That'll probably change very soon.
No, yeah, it's she should get paid. I'd be angry too.
Yeah. Right, but her producer credit applies to the production company, not to the distributor. You have to understand, once it passes from the deal passes directly to the distributor, it's a different set of mathematics. So all the people involved in the production that were not in-house all got screwed. She's just a big public face of it. I'm sure there's many more. The truth is, like, everyone loves the idea of streaming being so available to people, but there's going to be real consequences. And a lot of them are going to be very, very bad. We constantly talk about, like, the fact that there aren't really movie stars anymore, right? Just people who launch, besides Tom Cruise, whose name is above a title that launches a film, or The Rock, I guess, is the other one. Mm-hmm. There's no one, right?
We need to stand up to these studios so that the other people can get their money. So that's why I support her lawsuit in so much.
I support it too.
They breached her contract and not only screwed her, but who knows how many other people. And if somebody like her doesn't stand up and say, no, I'm not going to let you get away with that, then they're just going to continue to be able to screw everybody.
Yeah, the problem is now they'll just put the screwing in the contract. And it's Marvel Disney. Are you not going to sign with them? Because I mean, it's still going to be career defining, whether you like it or not.
Well, I think at this point in her Marvel career, she's probably done anyway. So it's nice to get a little extra money going out the door because she doesn't have to worry about signing another contract. She probably wasn't going to anyway.
She's set for life. Yeah, I mean, isn't this the end of $200-300 million Marvel movies? I mean, how do you justify these budgets now?
I sure as fuck hope so.
Yeah,
I'd be perfectly content if they go away totally at this point. But I just don't know how you justify the budgets. I don't know how you're making the money now. It's I don't know. And these TV series haven't been overly popular from what I understand.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah,
I do want to give a quick shout out to Garrett, Born to Be Rad, who's in the chat. What's up, Garrett? How you doing, buddy?
Hi, Garrett.
I also want to announce that Garrett is going to be making his debut on an upcoming episode of the show. We've seen him many times, but he will be here live.
Nice.
In the near future. So
cool.
But yeah, I don't see a lot of love and a lot of support for Disney in the chat. And Scarlett, get that money. And you had a great run with Disney. You made a lot of money from them. Get what you can out the door, and there you go. So I think it is funny though that they'll put it in the contract. You will be screwed.
They will.
You agree that you will be screwed. Initial here, so that when you get screwed, it was right here. You initialed it.
Well, they don't have a problem.
There'll just be a contingency clause in it that says if for unforeseen reasons we need to direct the film to secondary sources rather that interfere with the primary release schedule. I mean, they'll find a way around it. They're Disney.
Or it's like when you look at your job title, and at the very bottom of all your job duties, and it says
duties that they do for it.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I won't give Disney a penny of my money. I won't buy their movies. And I mean, I might have accidentally bought something that's been made by them because maybe I didn't know at the time or something. But like, I really, really hate Disney. I mean, I think they are literally like evil. So
I agree.
I don't like the way I guarantee you that this is not the first time that they've ripped someone off. And I bet you anything that because they're a children's station, that they've ripped off a ton of children
of course,
for all kinds of stuff, you know, and that's probably what they're used to. And because they're probably used to that, they probably think they can get away with it still because they've always done it in the past.
Disney's an evil corporation.
They're a big faceless evil corporation.
They shoot movies next to slave camps, so you know. Let's not pretend that they're
and then deny their existence. Yeah,
and then deny their existence.
Yeah,
exactly.
They're evil.
Them and Frito-Lay. Yeah.
Sean, I don't hate Mickey Mouse. I hate Disney. I love Mickey.
I don't know. Mickey was right there cracking the whip at that camp, I think.
Probably, yeah.
I'm just kidding. Don't come after me.
They had actors in the you know, they had Miss Minnie, they had Mickey, they had Goofy, Gorsh, you know, whipping Gorsh.
They gave them water once in a while. It's all good.
I've been wanting Disney to fail just because, you know, they become so greedy. You know, they own Fox, they own Marvel, they own Lucasfilm.
I don't want
ABC, ESPN. It's like
they've bought Jamie too.
Yes, I am now a Disney product.
Holy shit! Just that quick.
Yeah.
She went from...
Well, I had him sitting right back here. My husband just went down to Florida and in May, and he went to Universal and he went to Disney, and he got me a bunch of these ears with like all these different colored bows. So I had these ones sitting back there. So
they made them in the camp just for you, Jamie.
Yeah.
The Uyghurs are very happy that you supported their continuing entrapment and eventual extinction.
That red ink on there is not ink.
That's blood.
But you know what? Here's the irony is that Disney released Empty Man.
That's true.
Oh, they did?
Haven't seen it.
By sheer accident and happenstance, but they did.
I haven't seen it yet either, but I am going to watch it because I was watching your show last night, Lauren, and I heard you guys talking about it, and I was like, man, I really need to get on the ball and watch that, so I will.
You should.
It's hard to avoid everything, and really, I'm not that type of person. I'm never going to their parks again. They're just too expensive for what you get. It's just, I don't know. I'm not going to directly, knowingly give them my money, but of course they got their hands in everything, so it's kind of hard to not accidentally do it, you know.
I've never ever been to Disney, never ever, not once, and there's a reason for that. I didn't bring my son there, and I feel guilty. Okay, I do. I feel very guilty about that. But I think my fear of people in costumes outweighed my wanting to bring my son to Disney. I'm terrified of anybody in a costume. So that is like literally my nightmare place.
You do realize that Stone is actually a small child just puppeting the stone puppet, right? Hope I didn't just ruin the magic, but yeah.
Somebody in the chat just a second ago asked if anybody'd seen Snake Eyes. Lauren, I know you saw Snake Eyes recently, and you liked it quite a bit.
I liked it way more than I thought it was kind of. That's for damn sure. I went in thinking it would be kind of like the Mortal Kombat film, which was not really a film. It was a video for people who already liked the characters and the situation. Because if you didn't have an attachment to it, it was just nonsense happening on screen, and that's not a big criticism. If you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it. But yeah, I think that's the kind of project you kind of got to know that if you didn't have if you didn't grow up with it, or if you haven't had it for a long line in life, there wasn't really that much for anyone else on screen. This was surprisingly not a G.I. Joe movie, like almost at all. It was kind of just a samurai movie. And then, in fact, the weakest points are in it is when it kind of almost threatens to become a G.I. Joe movie. It's better when they're not referencing it at all. But it did have, as a surprise to me, Samara Weaving in it, and she got to kick a lot of ass and shoot a lot of guns. And I'm always down for Miss Weaving killing human beings, so that was good. But I was listen. It's a C. It's like a C+, right? That's as good as this type of film is ever going to be for me. But I was not expecting a C+ out of this. I was expecting something more in the lower tier of the D category, probably. But my Regal Pass got me in for the same price it cost me every month anyway. So I walked in and I was pleasantly surprised.
Cool. Very cool.
I have a AMC A-list special. I'm seeing Green Knight tomorrow, which I'm looking forward to, and
cool.
Jungle Cruise, which I have to see because of my nieces. So should be an interesting.
Don't do it,
tomorrow.
Dan. Don't do it.
Well, 3 movies a week. I'm not really paying for it, so.
I was telling my wife about Jungle Cruise the other day, and she's like, "Let me guess, The Rock's in it." And I'm like, "Yep, you nailed it."
He's in everything.
See, speaking of A24, did anyone watch the Lamb trailer?
I did.
I did not.
I'm down.
I am too.
Completely
I'm totally
down.
into it. Absolutely, it looked awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah,
It looks more bizarre than anything they've ever done, but I'm
Absolutely.
completely sold.
In fabric level, yeah.
Seeing the vision of her pulling along that lamb, and then her thinking it's a little kid with a lamb's head. I was sold.
But the lamb seemed to think that too, so I'm not sure.
It's creepy. I don't know what it's going to be about, but I'm excited.
I do like the actress that's in it. I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but I do like the actress.
Rapist, something like that.
Oh,
Rapist.
yeah.
Numi Rapace, yeah.
Rapace.
Not rape.
Not right.
You might need to change that when you're getting into the business.
I'm so sorry. I did not mean for it to
Could
come
you
out
imagine
that.
like Jamie's giving an award and the winner is Numi Rapist? The camera go on her and she'd be like,
and it's in Hollywood, so the entire audience stands up.
Susan's in the chat. What's up, Susan Horror Gal? Hope you're doing well. Oh goodness gracious! I'm looking forward to Green Knight. Green Knight looks interesting. Yeah. I've not seen the trailer for Goat, but I saw like a promotional image of Numi holding a goat and A24, and I was like, well, I'll watch it. It'll be weird, and I
She's great, so I'll definitely watch that.
Yeah, she's cool.
I wouldn't have even needed to see the trailer. A24 at this point, it's going to be one of my most anticipated movies. So
at the beginning, when the lambs form the logo, I was a little bit mind blown because I don't think that's CGI. I think that they trained those animals. I really do. Because it wouldn't be A24 to actually just CGI it and cheat.
Yeah. Well, Jamie, I know you've got a topic for us tonight. What have you got to talk about tonight, Jamie?
I thought we could all talk, since it's, the middle of summer, we're in the dog days of summer here. I was thinking that we could all talk about our favorite summertime movies, top 3. So I have 3 and a few special mentions that I'll mention, but I actually had 3 pages of movies. Whoa. So I had to really narrow it down. And it's really kind of funny because when I did narrow it down, it turned out that my top 3 were the top 3 I picked in the first place. So, so I don't know how you want to do this. If you want me to just go run down my whole list at once, and we'll do each person that way, or if we're going to go one at a time. But
go ahead and do your top 3.
Okay. So first, I'm going to mention a couple special mentions. I want to special mention Adventureland, which I absolutely love. That's the one with Kristen Stewart and
Jesse
Eisenberg. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And I love that movie. I watch it whenever I see it on or whenever I can. I do need to get that one on Blu-ray because I really, really love that movie. I also want to mention Dirty Dancing. It's not in my top 3, and you would think it would be because I'm, who I am, but no, it's not in my top 3. But I do want to give it a special mention because that movie screams summer to me. I love that movie, and I do own that, and I watch it every summer. And the one more, the last one that I have for a special mention is Summer School. Do you guys remember that?
Oh yeah,
With
Mark
Mark Harmon.
Yeah.
Mark Harmon.
It was so funny. Those two guys who are like obsessed with horror movies.
Mhm.
I was in love with those guys when
Yeah.
I was growing up. You know, I thought they were the coolest things ever.
Yeah.
So okay. So
Chainsaw and Dave. Chainsaw and Dave.
Chainsaw and Dave. That's right. Yep. Okay. So my number 3 on my list is the only horror movie I have on my list, which is I can't talk today. Sleepaway Camp. I think we all have a specific love for that movie. It screams summer to me. I've watched it, you know, almost every summer of my life ever since it came out. So to me, it's a very important one to have on my list because it's the only horror movie I wanted in my top 3. So number 2 on my list is Dazed and Confused.
Yes.
Which for me and my generation, and I'm sure Lauren will get this, that movie spoke out to me. It screamed to me about my generation. Now, when I was growing up, this whole hazing thing between like the high schoolers and then the incoming freshmen was still going on when I was in grade school. And this was a common thing. They had like a big thing at the school, you know, where the parents would allow this stuff to go on, and they had like hazing rituals. This is serious. I could not wait to be in 6th grade so that I could go through that. And that's sick. But I really did. I mean, it was like a rite of passage thing. So when I watched this movie, knowing they got rid of it the year before I turned the year it would have happened, you know, it was depressing for me. So seeing this movie and seeing that portrayed in that way always gave me a little jolt and a little excitement and made me feel, you know, like I could relate to it. Plus, who doesn't love Dazed and Confused? There's something wrong with you if you don't love, you know, Matthew McConaughey's all right.
I love them redheads, man.
I love them redheads. Yes, I love that guy. And he's based on a real person, which I thought was funny when I read it. I didn't know that. So that was cool. And my number 1, I don't think it's going to be a surprise to especially Stone, because Stone and I have mentioned this one before. Little Darlings is my number 1.
Ooh, yes.
I love that movie. That was the movie that made me fall in love with Matt Dillon. I fell in love with Tatum O'Neal and Kirsty McNichol, and I watched that every single time I see it on. I'm going to turn to it. No matter what, I'm going to turn to it every time I see it on. It felt wrong when I was so young because I saw that way, way too young of an age. And I felt like, you know, I'm doing something naughty. I'm not supposed to do this. You know, my mom won't like me watching this. This is risque. There's sex in it and all this stuff, you know. And so for me, it was a rite of passage movie. And that's why it's number 1 on my list.
And as an asterisk, unfortunately, Little Darlings is not available on physical media, only on out-of-print VHS tapes. But on YouTube, the uncut version with all the original soundtrack songs is available to view from the... Apparently, in the VHS era, they had a blue VHS and a red VHS, and it was on the blue VHS that had all the original music. Other Paramount titles, they screwed around with the soundtracks back at that time. But if you want to watch Little Darlings, it's on YouTube.
Yeah. Awesome.
There's an Australian import on Blu-ray.
Oh, there
is? Wonder why it hasn't been put out.
I wish it would be. It's so good.
The soundtrack, the rights to the song.
Yeah, sometimes it has to do with the soundtrack and getting rights for the music.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share their top 3 favorite summer movies?
I've got 3, and I would have put Summer School, but one of my favorite John Candy movies, Summer Rental, beat it out on my list. Richard Crenna, John Candy. It's a classic to me. I can't help it. And my number 1 favorite 4th of July movie, Jaws. I can't have a summertime. I watch it every year, so that should be a boring given. But every summer, I like to start out with Meatballs.
Yeah.
I mean, are you ready for the summer? Hell yeah. And Bill Murray, I mean, he was in his element. He was hungry. He was young. Before Stripes. Yeah. So I know some people, that movie hasn't aged well for some people, but if you think that, then just watch the sequels and then get back to me.
The Great Outdoors is a good one too.
Oh yeah,
that was another one, but it just Summer Rental and Meatballs. You know, it's like, oh, I got to go with one John Candy movie. I'm going to go with Summer Rental.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I mean, Jaws is my number one, obviously. I mean, it's well, but whenever you have something with like a summer camp, I think that just really screams summer, obviously. Like Meatballs was on my list. What else did I have? I mean, you could probably go with like any of the Friday the 13th too. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I clearly misunderstood the instructions. So I thought these were films where summer was actually important to the plot. It wasn't just the setting.
You can kill that way too, sure.
Yeah.
So like Cujo, like the heat is just as much a threat as the dog is.
That's
so to me, that's movie. That's
on my list. Yeah.
The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the entire aesthetic is it being summer in Texas.
Yeah.
You can feel that movie. Hills Have Eyes, the same thing. You can feel that desert. And then one that no one talks about, and I know that's 3 already, but one no one really talks about ever, The Ruins, which that movie screams being trapped in a very, very hot, temperate, environment. And I just thought when I don't watch films based on the season I'm in at all, ever, even like Christmas or Halloween, really, I don't, because I watch Halloween shit all year round. But to me, when the question was posed, I immediately jumped to like the movies whereas I really felt summer in the movie, not that it took place during summer, because most of those Fridays were filmed in like October, and they don't really feel like summer. We just know they're supposed to be summer, so we roll with it. But like those films, Cujo, Chainsaw, Hills Have Eyes, Ruins, I 100% feel summer.
To be fair, I wasn't clear on the rules. I actually didn't really set any rules. I was just like, yeah, summer movies,
I went summer setting because it is kind of. I kept out sex comedies because so many of those are during the summer, and I kept out slashers because again, so many are set there. But I did have a few. One for me. This has been called one of the worst movies ever. I disagree. I actually think it's quite entertaining. And that is Del Tenney's The Horror of Party Beach. This was sort of a takeoff of the AIP beach movies at the time that starred Annette Funicello. And this, how can you not love, it was billed as the first horror monster musical. And you have songs like The Zombie Stomp and everything. I mean, it is a cheese fest. The creature is like stuffed with hot dogs.
It's a classic. I agree. I love that movie.
It is, and it makes me feel summer. And it is. It's a collision of a beach movie and a radioactive monster, and it's actually deceptively bloody. It really does kind of feel like H.G. Lewis just tackled an Annette Funicello movie. So I like that one quite a bit. And there's a really good Blu-ray that finally came out from Severin. It is the definition of a cult movie. Another one that's a little more well-known, I'm sure most of you have seen this one, is the Roger Corman film directed by Barbara Peters, Humanoids from the Deep.
Another classic.
Yes, I love that film so much. I tend to watch that. That's one that I watch every summer, so I had to put that on my list. I could have gone with Jaws, but I figured that was gonna already be taken. And just to throw out a non-horror suggestion for you guys, there's a newer, I think it's a 2013 film called The Way, Way Back. It was a quarantine watch for me. It's from co-directors Nat Faxon and Jim Rash. And this one is just a really great coming-of-age dramedy. Really showed me how diverse Steve Carell can be as an actor. I never really thought much of him. He's always sort of the Daily Show 40-year-old virgin guy. But this cast, Toni Collette, Allison Janney, Sam Rockwell, who's a real standout, Maya Rudolph. If you want a summer watch, it was a good, made me feel good during the height of the pandemic because I finally got around to watching it. And it's a great summer watch. So it's not all blood and guts, guys. There you go.
That's cool. My list, I have 3, and I was certain that one would be taken and that the other 2 would be solely mine. I was wrong. My number 1, of course, is Jaws. I mean, I had a feeling that one would be shared. Mm-hmm. My number 2 is The Lost Boys.
Good one.
And my number 3 is Summer School.
Oh, see, somebody did think of that one.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I did, but I only had 3 choices.
So
Summer School was definitely in the top 10.
I didn't think anybody would go with Lost Boys or Summer School, but I stand corrected with Summer School at least. So
yeah, Christian mentions The Burning in the comments.
That's another good one. That's summer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. No doubt
What
about
about
it.
Nightmare Beach?
Yep. Oh,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Lindsay. Yeah, that's a fun watch.
I
got 3 I'd like to share real quick.
Sure.
The first one, I'll be perfectly honest that my favorite musical of all time, I watch every 4th of July. Believe me, I love Jaws and I love Friday the 13th and Independence Day. I love those films. But this is a movie I've been watching every year for the past 25, 30 years. And it's a musical about the signing of the Declaration of Independence with William Daniels, known to many of you as Mr. Feeney on Boy Meets World, and the voice of the car in Knight Rider playing John Adams. And he is terrific. And one of my favorite facts about this movie is that Blythe Danner does a whole musical and dance number while 5 months pregnant with Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh.
Yeah. And as Lauren mentioned, Cujo is an absolute favorite that I got the Eureka limited edition. And I'm such a hardcore Cujo fan. I even have the making of book by Lee Gambin. Nope, nothing wrong here. The making of Cujo. That's how much of a fan I am. And just last week, true story, just last week, I tweeted about Cujo on a challenge saying that it's a film that's set in a very hot environment. But in actuality, I mean, they were filming in very cold temperatures. Dee Wallace herself retweeted it and said, it was freaking freezing. Yeah, apparently, I mean, and it's just, it really proves how believable their performances are. They really do sell being in the hot environment like that in the dead dog days of August, pun intended, in Maine. But my number 1, which hasn't been mentioned yet, and I'm a little surprised to be perfectly honest, but it's National Lampoon's Vacation. You know, I grew up with my parents traveling cross country in station wagons. And, you know, at the time I was mostly miserable. I mean, all I had were books and my Walkman to keep me amused most of the time. But I mean, I would love to go back in time and go on one more trip with them, just going anywhere across country. We went north, we went west, east, south, everywhere. We drove everywhere in, horrible 80s station wagons. So National Lampoon's Vacation means so much to me. I mean, it's my favorite film of the entire franchise. I hated the reboot. I hated the reboot with an absolute massive passion because they decided to make the kids these quintessential bullies. And, I just wanted to shoot them in the head. I hated them so much. But I'm like, no, that remake is terrible. But no, number 1, National Lampoon's Vacation. I have to go with that.
I grew up the same way, minus the station wagon, but we had a StarCraft pop-up camper that went everywhere with us. And I think I've been in KOAs across the country. I know I've been at least 40 of the 50 states, and I've been in 3 countries. And every summer for 2 weeks, it's like, we're getting out of town. Let's go. And Yeah, exactly. I'd love to do it again. I mean, just going to Mount Rushmore and seeing the Liberty Bell and just all the different things, because my parents were big history buffs. They were a silent generation, and so that's what we did. We went to see America, and we had a great time doing it. Although, man, yeah, 700 miles in a car in the back seat with a book. Yeah, it's like it's brutal, but it was a lot of fun.
I just want to mention one.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
I just want to mention one more movie because nobody mentioned it, and I actually thought somebody would. But One Crazy Summer.
Oh,
I love that movie.
John
and
Cusack.
it almost made my list. It was very close. It's in my top 5, so it almost made my list, but it didn't. So
very cool. Very cool. Stone, what have you got for us tonight, man?
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, just recently, about a week ago, a documentary was released, a documentary short about the actress named Valerie Perrine. Now, if Valerie Perrine, if that name means anything to you, you probably recognize her as playing Miss Teschmacher, Lex Luthor's lady in the Superman movies. The first Superman directed by Richard Donner, and the second one she had returned. And so we just had a documentary short come out on Vimeo. I'm going to post a link to it in a minute. But Valerie Perrine is a very, very interesting case because I grew up loving the Superman movies. I watched them religiously. And I always loved Valerie Perrine and her character, especially near the end of Superman when she saves his life. Jumping in Lex Luthor's gigantic pool, kissing him, and then he goes off to there she is as Miss Teschmacher, yes. Goes off to save Superman, and he goes off and saves the world of Lex's rockets and everything. So she redeems her character in that respect. Back in 1970, in the early 70s, she was a Vegas showgirl. And then she had made a few movies, including Slaughterhouse-5. She was more than willing to appear naked in her movies. And in fact, in 1974, she got her huge break in a Bob Fosse film called Lenny, about the controversial comedian Lenny Bruce. Dustin Hoffman played the comedian. Now, Lenny Bruce, hopefully some of you have heard of this guy, but apparently he's considered one of the great comedians. He was so incendiary with his verbiage and everything. I mean, he was arrested for basically saying F you. He was arrested on obscenity charges for saying cocksucking. There's a whole sequence in Lenny, Dustin Hoffman playing Lenny, and the entire court is reacting to this speech that Lenny gives on a recording of come as a verb. It was like, no, I didn't come. I still love you, honey. Yeah. So, and it goes on for so long. I mean, Lenny, the movie is about basically his obscenity trials, which after a while he would just read verbatim instead of actually doing actual monologues in front of stand-up audiences and everything. And Valerie Perrine is wonderful as Honey Harlow, stripper Honey Harlow, who is Lenny Bruce's girlfriend. And she unfortunately becomes a junkie, and she goes into rehab and everything. And the film seems to be told largely from her point of view, although because of drugs and everything, there's almost like a haziness to the whole thing in terms of the memories being described. I mean, it literally opens on Valerie Perrine's mouth as she talks about Lenny Bruce and who he was and how she remembered him and everything. So it's I think one of the great films of the 1970s, to be perfectly honest. And Valerie Perrine made such an impression in that movie. I mean, there were scenes where she just cried so naturally and on cue. It was astonishing. She was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actress, not supporting actress, actress. And she was going up against Faye Dunaway in Chinatown, and ultimately who won, which was Ellen Burstyn for Alice doesn't live here anymore. But she did win the award at the Cannes Film Festival for playing Honey Harlow. And then she was in Superman. In the documentary Valerie, which is 39 minutes long, Richard Donner is interviewed. And I believe, I could be wrong, but I'm sure this was one of the very last interviews that was filmed of him. And he had nothing but glowing words about Valerie Perrine. Jeff Bridges is interviewed. David Arquette, of all people, gives a very moving interview about how much he grew up loving Valerie Perrine. And it's really sad because she's now 77 years old. She suffers from Parkinson's disease. She had a huge setback in the past few years. She's not doing very well health-wise at all. And but this 39-minute movie was, I think, a very moving, intimate portrait of her. And I will say that I'm such a fan of her that Lenny is available on Amazon Prime. I highly encourage all of you to check it out. But I love the Superman film so much, I even have the 3-hour television cut, which just came out on Blu-ray last year. And in 1980, she starred in what was considered the worst picture of the year, which won several Razzie Awards, called Can't Stop the Music, featuring the Village People in basically a BS pseudo-biography about how they came together in the village. And it's got Bruce Jenner, back when he was known as Bruce Jenner. It's also got the Village People and Steve Guttenberg. And there's a great scene in Can't Stop the Music that I just have to deliver real quick before I finish, which is the Village People are doing a song out in her courtyard in this this Manhattan apartment, and they're doing this song, and Bruce Jenner gets so upset by the display that he goes out in a huff. He basically goes to Valerie Perrine in her face and says, "The lasagna was good," and he just walks out in a huff. He opens the door, he's about to leave, and Valerie is like, "Why are you leaving so early? What's your problem?" And Bruce Jenner says, "Look, I just don't understand why a good-looking girl like you is down here in the village, hanging out with a bunch of I don't know what." And Valerie Perrine goes into a very progressive speech for 1980, where she basically says to Bruce Jenner in his face, "You know what? I don't judge people. I accept them. As long as it's not harming anybody, it's all right with me." And Bruce Jenner just gets all pissed off and says, "Well, where do you draw the line?" And she says, "With uptight squares like you," and he just slams the door and leaves. But, anyway, she may be known for just those 3 films for the most part: Lenny, Superman, and Can't Stop the Music. And she was in Superman 2, although I've never understood why her character disappears after they leave the Fortress of Solitude. And just to close out talking about the documentary, I will say that I have a dark theory about Superman 2 that I'd like to share with all of you real quick. Like I said, Gene Hackman is Lex Luthor and Valerie Perrine is Miss Teschmacher. She comes in and saves Lex Luthor, rescues him from prison via a hot air balloon. And they go up to the North Pole to the Fortress of Solitude to check out Superman's home. All throughout that time, Lex Luthor is being such an a-hole to her. He won't, he makes her mush the entire way in a snowmobile. He doesn't help her going down those steep steps in the Fortress of Solitude. Doesn't even help her find a bathroom anywhere. He's just a total a-hole to her. And my theory is that there's a deleted scene from the original Superman movie where after she saves Superman's life, Superman comes back and saves her life just as Lex was roping her down into a pit full of lions. Apparently, he had a pit full of lions in the original cut. Saves her at the last second. I believe that Lex Luthor killed her and maybe left her body in the snow. Who knows? It's a dark theory, but that is my theory as to what happened to her in Superman 2, because her character just completely disappears. But
my
at any rate,
theory is that Richard Donner started shooting Superman 2. They pulled the plug to release the original film to get their budget back, fired him, and had somebody else finish the movie. So she may have went the way of Donner.
That's true. That's very true. I mean, and she is in both cuts, and there is different footage of her in both cuts. I mean, in the Richard Donner cut, she's constantly worried about going to the bathroom. Well, yeah, I mean, if somebody forced you to mush all the way up to the North Pole, I think I'd want to go to the bathroom too. So, but anyway, it's a wonderful intimate portrait. It's on Vimeo, $3.99 for rent, $4.99 to buy, and it's got lots of wonderful interviews, including with her herself. And what can I say? I mean, I adore Valerie Perrine. I always will, and I just hope that more people get to check out her work, especially in Lenny. I mean, Lenny is, like I said, a quintessential film of the 70s. So.
Yeah. Posted the Vimeo link just a little while ago. So if you guys want to go check that out, there is the link. So, all right, very cool. Yeah, very nice. Dan, I understand you have a review for us tonight.
Yeah, so I have a quick review because, truth be told, I initially had planned, ironically, Stone, to talk about a documentary myself, which was that Val Kilmer documentary that was supposed to debut on Amazon Prime, and it didn't. So I've just got a quick one for you guys tonight, and that is the 1962 Sidney Hayers film, Burn Witch Burn, which was also known as Night of the Eagle. That Lauren's happy. Back in the day, originally released.
Beaumont and Matheson, baby.
Yes. This is one that is kind of overlooked. I feel like it's gotten a little more love in recent years. It's very much in the vein of the old Val Lewton movies from the 40s, which is why Lauren obviously loves Burn Witch Burn. I figured this would be one that he would enjoy quite a bit. And, well, first of all, this is pretty unique, too, for 1962, because it has good magic combating black magic, which, is a little bit unusual. It didn't, just portray it all as being something bad. And this stars Peter Wyngarde, who many of you will remember from The Innocents, or you should if you haven't seen The Innocents, classic horror film. It really reminds me what a great actor he was, because he beat out Cary Grant and Peter O'Toole for his role in The Innocents. And he plays a professor who is a skeptic and finds out that his wife, Tansy, has been using black magic that she picked up on a trip to the Caribbean to further his career, and for that matter, save his life down there during an accident. And I don't want to spoil everything, but they end up being targeted by a sinister force. So I love this movie so much. I used to pair it up with Night of the Demon, the 50s film, all the time. And it is just such an engaging story, beautiful black and white photography. And as Lauren said, Charles Beaumont and Richard Matheson, who are responsible for so much of the Twilight Zone stories that, as far as I am concerned, are timeless and always will be timeless. This was originally actually based on a Fritz Leiber 1943 story called The Conjure Wife, which actually initially appeared in a pulp fantasy magazine called Unknown at the time, and then later became a novel. And just everything about this, his wife, who is played by Janet Blair, who is known more for light, fluffy Hollywood musicals, also excellent in this film. It is amazing. And Richard Matheson, we all think of, of course, I Am Legend and all these adaptations. He also wrote the screenplay for The Devil Rides Out, which is one of the better Hammer films with Christopher Lee. And I just think this movie is fantastic. It's among the greats of the 60s, right up there with Black Sunday, I think, which, if you know me, that tells you how highly I think of it. And man, I hope more people take a look at this one. It may not be your summer watch like we talked tonight, but put this on your list for Halloween season. It's just so good, and it depresses me that a lot of people haven't seen it. And hey, have yourself a Peter Wyngarde double feature. Watch The Innocents too if you haven't. It's amazing. And Lauren, do you have any thoughts on Burn Witch Burn? Because I could tell.
Well, this could go for 4 hours.
Yeah.
First off, I just want to say the Kino disc of it is amazing. It's a great transfer.
Mm-hmm.
What you're probably not expecting from this, because words got thrown around that scare people, like black and white and actors that are now no longer alive. I know that scares a lot of people, but here's the thing: like the climax of this film features some of the goddamn coolest special effects ever put on screen.
Oh my God! Yes.
If you thought the I don't, without spoiling anything, if you thought the Incredible Shrinking Man special effects hold up great today, which they do, you're going to be in absolute nirvana when you see the end of this film. It's a film with real threat too. That's something people aren't expecting with older films.
Mm-hmm.
There's real sense of dread, and there's also like a lot of moral gray in that movie. It's a pretty astounding film that unfortunately no one ever talks about. Like Dan just woke me up, like you wouldn't believe. But it's just, don't let the fact that it's from the 60s and in black and white throw you. Don't. Stop it, Jay. Don't. I'll come over there. Hey, Piz, can you change the layout? Can I be next to Jay? Just click on me and drag me. That's all you have to do. There we go. No, I love Burn Witch Burn. Definitely the Kino disc is a really smart purchase for people who want to own a piece of classic horror that holds up today. But no, Dan, I think you did an amazing job with it.
Oh, Margaret Johnston too. What she was nasty.
without explaining the character, absolutely.
Yes, I mean just absolutely.
But how about how much it mirrors kind of like the both sides of the Me Too thing that's going on now?
Yeah.
I mean, shockingly precedent.
Very much so. Yes, and this is not like the camp that you got from some of the later Satanic Panic stuff. I was actually going to pair this on a show, but I almost thought I'd be doing it a disservice to put this up there with like, Devil's Reign and some of those films that are a lot of fun and I love, but this is kind of in a different weight class. It really is. And so just to throw that one out there, guys, check it out. I think I actually have faith that a lot of, even you, Jay, I think you will like Burn Witch Burn. You gotta.
Yeah, I'm joking. I'm gonna check it out.
You can get the Blu-ray on Amazon right now for $17, or you can watch it. You can rent it for $3.99.
Oh, awesome!
If you're on Prime.
Let me ask you this:
Kino disc is beautiful.
Is Burn Witch Burn the same thing as Night of the Eagle?
Yeah, Night of the Eagle was the original title, which actually does make sense when you watch the film. But and I would also throw out there, Conjure Wife was also adapted by Universal, which they had to get the rights from Universal. It was a Universal horror film called Weird Woman with Lon Chaney Jr. So there's kind of a, if you want to watch them both, different films.
Not nearly as good a film.
No, it's not. But if you want to pair them up, you can. It's Lon Chaney Jr.
I stand corrected. It is temporarily out of stock on Blu-ray, but you can still watch it on Prime.
Okay.
If next time Kino has a sale, you could want to take care of it. I bought it for $12 on one of their sales, so
worth it.
Oh my God, it's an incredible value.
Yeah. And rest in peace, well, everybody in this film at this point, but Richard Matheson, like I said, icon.
Beyond icon.
Yeah.
Seriously, everything you love wouldn't exist without Richard Matheson.
Not George Romero all the time says,
yeah,
Night of the Living Dead. You wouldn't have that without I Am.
And without Night of the Living Dead, what do you have?
Yeah, absolutely. He is so key to our genre. Well, in the science fiction genre too, but just an absolute legend.
Right. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, we are nearing the 2-hour mark. Let's go ahead and let's start wrapping things up here. Dan, what's going on the Flesh Wound Features YouTube channel?
We have a bunch of new shows up. I will say, in particular, August 18th, we have a very big interview. I'm not allowed to say who yet, but I know a lot
Richard
of
Matheson.
That'd be awesome. Could be Christian Matheson is possible.
Ouija board. We'll work on it. I'll talk to the S'mores and Doors guys and see if we can make that happen.
Don't get me started.
But yeah, August 18th, there's a big interview that I think people will enjoy quite a bit. Flesh Wound Features on YouTube.
I was actually thinking about doing a Ouija board stream soon.
That would be awesome.
I want to be involved.
See who we can contact,
Lauren's so excited.
Jason's going to come to life behind Lauren. And
beautiful Jason.
Beautiful.
What's going on over on your channel, Stone?
Oh, well, like I said, the last commentary I did was for the Devils, which was great. I'm going to be doing I have 3 commentaries all already set and planned on my channel. On Sunday night, I will be doing a 35th anniversary commentary for Howard the Duck, featuring a special guest, Ernie Trinidad, who is making the documentary Howard the Duck, which features, interviews with Leah Thompson and Willard Hike, the director, and basically everything about the 1986 film Howard the Duck, which I'm very excited. And Dan, just to throw out to you real quick, I am actually a secret Howard the Duck fan since I was 7. And I'm so excited to talk about to have that commentary. On Monday night, I will be doing a commentary on The Omega Man, starring Charlton Heston, which of course is based on the book I Am Legend by the great Richard Matheson. And then finally, on Monday, August 9th, I will be doing a commentary on what may be the worst movie of 1971, The Love Machine, based on the book by Jacqueline Suzanne, which has probably some of the most atrocious lines you've ever heard in a movie, including my favorites. You are not a nice man. And he says, "You're right, baby. Let's take a shower."
Jesus.
Where?
Holy moly.
Well, did it work? Because if it did, I'm changing my entire approach.
It's called The Love Machine. I assume it worked.
Yeah, must have.
Can I mention just one more thing? If you haven't gone to Piz's T-Public Killer Selection, I love these new masks. I love these things. Oh, man. And I've been wearing these pretty much all for the last 2 weeks.
Nice.
And finally, yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Beautiful, Piz. Beautiful. I love
Thank you, Stone.
And I
Thank you, Stone.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Very kind of you. Very kind of you. Stingray, what's going on your multitude of channels?
Jay the Stingray on YouTube and all other social media. Every Wednesday at midnight Eastern time, I do a commentary. Next week is going to be Grandma's Boy. And I've got videos coming all the time. Check out Movie Discussion Pocket Dimension, Final Dungeon. There's probably some more I'm forgetting. But...
You've been doing some unboxings here lately too.
Mm-hmm. Video game stuff, yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Speaking of which, I'm going to issue a public challenge to Gibbs RetroCac. He's been dodging us. He's not been on the show in a while, and I'm going to issue a public challenge to him. He needs to be on a show very soon.
I think he's been big leaguing his piss is what he's been doing.
I think so too. So
I'm tired of it.
I don't even know what that means, but I'm going to say yes.
Jamie, what's been happening over on your channel?
I just finished going through season 1 of Twin Peaks on my Twin Peaks Tuesdays. I'm going to be starting a live reading. Well, I don't know if I'm going to do this live. I actually might record and then put these up, but I'm going to do a reading of The Secret Diary of Laura Palmer. It's probably going to be a little difficult for me to read some sections because it is very risque. So it's going to be difficult, but that's why I'm saying I'm going to record it, because as long as you people aren't looking at me, I can have all kinds of balls. So.
But see, what you need to do, Jamie, is ASMR. Like, get close to the microphone, and be like, and then Laura pulled off her dress.
That's so funny that you just said that, because I had to ask what that was, because I was on oh shoot, Jay, what's the name of that show that I was just on? Dan, what's the name of the show I was just on?
Slackercast.
Slackercast.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was on Slackercast, and Lawrence told me that I should do those, and I was like, well, what is that? You know? And he said it's like whispering, you know, into the microphone and stuff. And I'm like, wow, I can make money whispering into the microphone.
Women on Twitch make tons of money. There's like some kind of apparatus. It's like 2 ears.
Oh, it's yeah.
And you can set it up to where, you know, if you whisper in the right ear, it comes out the right speaker. If you whisper in the left ear, it comes out the left speaker. And these women will literally make out with the ears, like lick them.
Ew.
I hate our society.
I'm never doing that.
They get major money for doing that. Major money. And when they get like a donation, they'll go, oh, thank you. Thank you, Elite Sniper 69.
Hold on, Piz. I'm going to have to get off here. You keep that up.
That's literally it. That's literally it. And like hundreds of dollars are rolling in.
The terrorists clearly won.
Yeah, that's we're about done as a society.
But anyway, so I'm going to do that reading, and I'm going to be starting season 2 of Twin Peaks here pretty quick. And also be expecting some movie reviews and stuff coming up soon, because I'm going to start going through my collection, about 3 to 5 movies at a time, and talking about everything that's in my collection, because I think people are curious to see what I do have as opposed to what I don't have. So basically that's it. And also check out the Slackercast, because I was on their show last week doing a top 10 list of the top 10 hottest chicks. And I only did it. I agreed to do it because they did a stud list first. So check it out. It was fun.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. I may do some ASMR while I read this. I just got this in the mail today, the Friday the 13th Part 3 novelization.
Sexy.
So I may do
some Avalon novel.
Yeah, I may do some ASMR to this on my channel in the near future.
Jason stuck his machete in.
Especially when I get to the...
You can play a drinking game, guys, and count the passive verbs. It's amazing.
Or especially when it gets to the part where he's like, you know, he does something bad to the woman in the woods, you know, her flashback.
You'll be disappointed.
That'll be some good ASMR.
I think I sent you a screen capture of that page a long time ago.
Yeah, I think you did.
Because you were like, does it explain? I'm like, no.
They used to sell little Sony mics with the right left separation on eBay for like $10. Not anymore. Those are probably $100 now because of ASMR on Twitter.
Buying some of these ears right now.
What's happening on the Visited by Voices 1 YouTube channel?
We're still kind of settling the final schedule for August. There will be a show this week, a live show this week with a very, 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 very special guest that I've been talking to for a year about coming on. So that's exciting, but I just want one more email to confirm one little thing about it before I officially announce it. But this is someone that I think it's safe to say everyone has seen in very recently. Let's just say that within the last year, I think most people watching this broadcast has seen this person. So
Stephen King.
No, Stephen King is never going to come on. There's been too much. We talk about the Stephen King problem all the time, so I don't think he's coming on.
Dean Koontz.
Well, Dean Koontz is more likely than Robert McCammon, who doesn't own a computer.
Wow.
So, but I did want to say, though, this has nothing to do with my channel, although you should definitely go over there and subscribe to it because it helps me, and I have some great things planned, and Sam loves to make fun of new subscribers, so go over there and do that. But I did finally get a copy of the Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell.
I have, yeah.
Which is a horrifically bad Japanese Evil Dead ripoff. But it's also one of those titles that is not the easiest thing to just come across for some frickin' reason. So I was really, I don't know why I get obsessed with certain titles if they elude me, but this one did, and it finally came home, and it is every bit as bad as I hoped it would be. So this one I'm very happy to own. So that's my suggestion. Everyone go out and go on your wild goose chase to find this.
I got it when it came out. Yeah.
Love that title. Love that title.
You might not feel that way with the film when you see it, but
what's going on with you these days, Mike? Besides your water heater,
all kinds of normal life fun and games that we all enjoy. But I'll be with Stone on the Howard the Duck live commentary. I was lucky enough, I consider myself lucky anyway, to have seen it at the drive-in during its initial run. I've always enjoyed the film. I don't really understand why it got so much hate. Of course, I'm not really married to the source material, so if there were huge Howard the Duck fans out there that were incensed by its existence, I understand. It's cool. I was a huge mark for Leah Thompson back in the 80s. So she was the highlight at the time. But I enjoyed the flick. I know Jeffrey Jones. Yeah, we know what he did, but this was before that. This is before any of that was known. He was good as Ferris Bueller's principal. He was good in Howard the Duck. An early role I remember for Tim Robbins.
Yep.
Yeah.
Blumberg.
It was a huge miscalculation, whatever you want, but it's a gem of its own that we don't get too many of, and I'm really looking forward to watching that, because I've always been a defender of Howard the Duck. I mean,
me too.
The critics it's not
too
great,
much
but
toot. That's all.
What did you want? It's a duck from outer space. Come on, Leah Thompson. Just
better
look at
than
her.
Modern Marvel. Better than Modern Marvel.
Yeah. And early role for Holly Robinson.
Mm.
She's in the band with Leah Thompson, and
wow.
so there's a lot going on. If you were from that era and you were used to the actors that were in all the movies back then, there's quite a bit there, and I was, so I enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to watching it again with Stone. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Cool. Very cool.
And I'll be doing another obscurity report whenever we get around to doing that, and be on the show again. I try to make room. Maybe maybe Retro Cack will get off his hind end and make an appearance.
Yeah. He needs to get off his high horse. You know what I mean?
Got to stop playing with that joystick and get on here.
I know. Jeez, what's he
Stop
thinking?
fondling your dongle and get with it.
I've got Miguel Nunez is going to be dropping by my channel next Thursday for a fun little chat. That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Ooh,
and,
baby. Ooh,
oh, I know.
Baby.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait.
I know. I'll just be doing that the whole time until he gets fed up with it and leaves. And then just got a bunch of more reviews. I got some other fun stuff scheduled as well, so keep your eyes peeled on my channel. There's Justin around 1988. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, Justin.
He says he loves Howard the Duck. Right on.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. So yeah, check out all of our individual channels. If you're not a Patreon supporter, please look into that. We've got lots of exclusive content over on our Patreon. So if you want to support the show a little bit more, that link is in the description, and we certainly appreciate it. Some shout outs here really quick before we call it a night. Shout out to our buddy Nico for the $5 super chat. Thank you, Punk Ron, for the $4.99 super chat. And thank you, Christian Hanna Hara, whoever that is, for the $1.99 super chat. And we will be back in a couple of weeks with a brand new episode of Region Free. Until then, you all take care, stay safe, and until next time, peace.